Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark. We're a little late this week, had some scheduling conflicts, some health stuff, but we're here. Uh, I'm Ben. I'm the host of this show for some reason. Still haven't
Yeah.
figured out why. And I'm here with my co-host Uncle Russ. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff, the Elite re-signing with AEW, among SummerSlam, among all this other stuff, and Vince McMahon getting raided by the feds.
How about that?
Maybe we should call this episode Federal SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Federal SummerSlam. Okay. Well, of course, the big news of the week, aside from Vince McMahon getting served a search warrant by the federal government, was the Elite signing new multi-year contracts, all four of them.
Do you know how many years?
I've been told three or four, but it's supposed to be some big secret.
Okay.
Um, I would presume they maintain employee status because that's what all four of them had before,
Yeah.
and that's what Cody had in AEW as well. So,
I'm
uh,
not surprised.
I'm
I think,
surprised Kenny resigned for that long.
yeah. You think maybe he was going to retire?
I thought he was just going to leave because Kenny's the one guy in that group that you look at that's still there that could leave and go make a ton of money somewhere else.
He could probably work something out at WWE. Young Bucks, I don't know.
Okay, here's what I heard. WWE, specifically Triple H, was very interested in the Young Bucks multiple times.
All right.
2016, 2018, and 2019. Three times that their contracts were up, that Triple H was very interested. So it's not like Triple H didn't want them in the first place. He
All right.
did. Hangman, I don't know. Kenny, they've had interest in him for the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, even Vince really liked Kenny in terms of talent. So it's not like WWE didn't want any of them. I don't know about Hangman. I would presume if they were told, hey, we're a package deal,
Yeah.
they'd figure it out. You know what I mean? It was the same thing with Adam Cole when Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly went. They were a package deal,
Right. I
or
remember.
not Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, excuse me. It was
Yeah.
the same thing with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly with Adam Cole. They were a package deal at the time. They hired all three of them. You know, it's not like WWE won't do that. They've certainly got the money. I mean, they're $1 billion company. They can certainly afford to hire some people on package deals if they have to. And I think the Elite would have been, if they would have managed to get all four of them, that would have been a coup for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I still think that the main reason Kenny didn't go to WWE is because Jay White went to AEW. And that Kota Ibushi doesn't appear to be going to WWE, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think he's necessarily going to sign anywhere. I think it sounds like Kota is going to kind of do the freelancer thing for a while, which is what he's always liked to do anyway.
Sure.
But, and that's just how Kota is. I mean, Kota's never really liked to be tied down anywhere. So I don't know. I'm not surprised that all four of them resigned. I'm surprised that Kenny resigned. I figured the Bucks and Hangman would stay. Although Hangman's another one that you could almost see going to WWE and having some modicum of success.
Yeah, but I don't know if they let him keep that cowboy gimmick.
I maybe not say cowboy shit, but I think he could still be.
Excuse me.
I think he could still be country or whatever, because
Sure.
that's not necessarily fully a gimmick with him. The guy does actually live in the middle of nowhere on a farm in Virginia. Like that's a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not completely a gimmick there. So, would they let him keep part of it? Yeah, they let Cowboy Brock Lesnar run around for a year. I mean,
Cowboy who?
they let Cowboy Brock Lesnar run around for a year. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that's right. With this, yeah.
They let him wear a cowboy hat all the time. I don't think they'd have a problem with Hangman going out there with it.
I enjoyed him when he was in Texas, and he would always try to get the Cowboys mad at him by
Who, Brock?
saying, "You say, well, how does it feel to be looking at the only cowboy in the building?"
I think he only did that once, but that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Now, Russ, going into SummerSlam, we also had a whole bunch of news come out that Vince McMahon had back surgery a couple weeks ago and is out
right,
for an indefinite period of time and was also served a federal search warrant.
right.
I don't know a whole lot about this.
I don't know exactly what they were looking for, but I'm sure they're looking for financial documents to try to find evidence that he used company funds to pay off his personal picadillos.
No.
It,
Okay, so, and I'm not going to get into politics here.
right,
I avoid it like the plague,
sure.
but the Trump Foundation was forced to shut down in 2018. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's legal fact. You can go find it. Again, I'm not going into politics here, but the McMahons were pretty well connected with the Trump Foundation. I don't know if maybe it has something to do with that because Donald Trump has his own modicum
Yeah,
of legal stuff going on right now.
lots of it. Yeah, 30
Or
something indictments. Yeah,
or maybe it's connected to the SEC case. I don't know, but I do know that if the federal government is serving you a federal search warrant, you're in hot shit.
yeah, definitely in trouble.
And, I guess from everything I've heard, that back surgery he had was no joke. I mean, it was pretty serious. So, he's already going to be out for a while.
Yeah,
Um, and Triple H even said, and I think we've pretty much gathered this, that while Vince is able to make certain changes here and there, he has not made wholesale sweeping changes really to a show since the night after WrestleMania. He himself has not made wholesale sweeping changes. Now, that doesn't mean he hasn't made changes and he hasn't made things worse in certain spots. I'm not saying there haven't been shows that have just been ripped apart by him. I'm sure there have been, but that I
yeah,
know about in terms of just total disaster shows, the last one I know about was the Raw after WrestleMania.
yeah. I hear
I
you.
I don't know what's going on with this federal case. I'll talk about it more when I know more. And you know how it goes with the feds. I mean, you're not going to know anything until it's over anyway.
And that's gonna. And you also know when the feds are involved, it's going to take a long, long, long ass time before this is all resolved.
And we're not going to hear anything about it for 6 months.
Right. And they're, they go very, very slow at everything, pretty much.
I think it's because they're doing so many things at once. I
Well,
think
they're
it's
just,
part of it.
yep,
Speaking of a whole lot at once, holy shit, there was too much wrestling last week.
a lot of wrestling, a lot of wrestling.
We're not going to go blow by blow on every show here. I didn't watch Collision. I'll be honest with you because SummerSlam was 6 fucking hours.
Right.
Uh, what's funny to me about this SummerSlam show? Oh, by the way, the best weekly TV show of the week was Dynamite, and I don't think it was all that close. And I don't think anybody's going to argue with me there. Um, did you watch Collision at all?
I watched Collision last night and it was okay. It wasn't too bad. I liked it, but for the most part, but
I mean, I intend to watch it. I just haven't had
yeah,
time. You know, um, for reference, we're taping this on Monday.
I know
So
that we got a match coming up. We're going to have another, I guess this will be the rubber match. FTR and Young Bucks going to try to take care of unfinished business.
are they
That's
doing that
coming
again?
up here pretty quick, or at the
All in show.
All In. Thank you. What's the date on that again?
August 27th, and it's happening in like the middle of the day.
Oh, that's coming up.
It's also
Oh,
inconvenient because it's on a Sunday. Anyway,
yeah.
oh man. We might
I
have to
remember
do a
when all
review show.
pay-per-views were on Sunday.
We might have to do our review show for that on Monday because I think now that I look at it, yeah, we'll talk about it later. Um, Anyway, let's talk about this SummerSlam show. Speaking of stuff we're talking about on a Monday, let's
right?
talk about this SummerSlam show.
Which
I
I
thought
thought was
SummerSlam.
for the most part was good.
I thought there was some very good stuff on this show. I do want to talk about, however, and I don't know what it is. And in the Triple H era, pacing has been much better, and this was no exception. But it seems like every time Roman Reigns is on one of these shows, they take their sweet ass time.
Oh man, it's just I think they need to speed it up. It's just way too slow. And
No, it's when
having it
Roman
be
Reigns is there.
having it be the last match of the night, it just seemed to I want I you're probably like me at some point you're thinking, damn, this show might go till 11 o'clock. It went till
And it
about a
did.
quarter after 11.
And it did.
Yeah, over 4 hours. Hey, can I bet you about something? Not
Absolutely.
major. It wasn't a major part of the show.
Yep.
It was a very minor part of the introduction. But I am not a fan of Kid Rock.
Nor am I.
And I wish that
They should have gotten Barry Sanders. Absolutely.
they should have got somebody different. That's going to be a better spokesman for him, because in my opinion, every time Kid Rock opens his mouth, he says something egregiously stupid.
Says something he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Um, I
But
do
then
want to talk.
the other thing is, four main events. And Michael Cole, we got four main events. No, nobody has four main events.
But
There's
they've
only
been
one
doing,
main event.
you've been watching wrestling long enough. They've been doing that in this company since 1980. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it doesn't make a lick of sense. I don't buy it,
no, neither do
but
I.
that's just the way they want to sell it, the way they want to package it. I guess that's the way it's going to go, which is all right.
Well, I do want to talk about attendance.
Yeah,
They
they had
announced
real good attendance, didn't they?
they announced 59,194. Um, the reported number and the number I've heard is around 51,000. I think the reported number out right now is like 51 for something,
That's a big crowd.
but I've heard everything from 51 to 51.5 to 52. So it's somewhere in there.
Right.
It's in that ballpark. And it's interesting to me because me and you talked about this when they announced it. Me and you both said Detroit's a weird choice for SummerSlam
Sure. Yeah.
because it was, and it is. Now they've done it before, but Detroit's a weird choice. Just like I think Minneapolis is a weird choice for SummerSlam.
Sure.
Doesn't mean I wouldn't go if it was there, but
Right.
it's a weird choice. Because when you think summer, you don't think about Detroit. Uh, I don't know. They should be very happy with that number.
Yes.
And Triple H said in the post-show press conference, by the way, those press conferences, I watch exclusively Triple H's bit because Triple H is the only one saying anything I care about. He talks about business stuff on there most of the time, so I listen to that. And Triple H said that by all number stuff with Peacock, it looks like it's going to be a record number again.
Good.
And they've been doing that just about every
Well,
month.
I tell you, no matter what you think of their shows, they're getting good numbers. You can't say that they're sort of in a comeback mode. I mean, they're never going to get as big as they were in the 90s.
But they're hot right now. I mean, they're doing
They're
3
hot.
million on
Yeah.
Friday nights. It's happening. We're in another wrestling boom. AEW is doing pretty well. WWE is doing better than they ever
Right.
have in this era, anyway.
Yes.
I have very real questions about their pay-per-view stuff because if you noticed, which this is good, they have ditched Hell in a Cell, Extreme Rules, all these gimmick pay-per-views, We're getting a freaking payback next month. When was the last time we got a payback?
I don't know. That's one we haven't had in a while, I think. I don't know.
2020?
Maybe. Yeah.
Last time we had a payback, I know there wasn't a crowd, so it had to be 2020. Because
Right.
remember, the last time there was a
Is
payback,
that one of the pandemic era
yeah, last
shows?
time there was
Okay.
a payback was 2020. I was right. Last time there was a payback, it was 2020, and Roman Reigns had just won the title.
Wow. He's been champion a hell of a long time.
And they're doing it the same week, year to date, and everything that he won the title, which is
Yeah,
interesting. I'm hoping he's on that show because you could do something around that. You know what I mean?
sure.
By the way, by all indications, it does not sound like we're getting a December pay-per-view again this year, which I'm fine with.
From WWE,
Correct.
that's fine.
I mean, if they want to do day one again or New Year's Revolution or whatever on that first week of January, I'm fine with that. You know, everybody's gonna complain about it, but it's like I got more serious stuff to worry about than that. Let's talk about this actual show. We've been talking for almost 20 minutes.
Sure. Well, we had 8 matches and
Nine, technically.
yeah.
Uh
Right, you're right. You're right. Because we had a little surprise there. We'll get to that.
this show started very well with Logan Paul and Ricochet. These
Right.
two absolutely tore it up. And I
They
think we
did good. I mean, I know we don't like Logan Paul personally, but man, he's a good heel. He's a good wrestler. He's got
these
great
two
moves.
could feud all year for all I give a shit. This
Yeah,
match was so good.
it was excellent, and I'm glad that Logan Paul could not defeat Ricochet without cheating. Somebody brought him the brass knucks. I don't know who that was. Did you know who that was that brought him the brass
Uh,
knuckles?
no, it was
Some
some jabroni.
some jabroni, some flunky.
But
Yeah, they tore it up, and it was really really very exciting match.
it was such a good match. Logan Paul wins with a brass knuckle. I was fine with that. My friend who I was
Yeah,
watching with didn't
me
like it
too.
because he didn't want Logan to win, but I'm like, he didn't beat him clean. At
That's right.
least he
So
didn't win clean.
there's more of the story to come. Probably starting on Monday Night Raw.
Maybe, or who knows when Logan's going to be back, though.
That's right. He's not a full timer.
And then we had maybe my favorite match on this show, other than maybe one or two others. Maybe one other one. This was my favorite match on the show, other than maybe one other one. And that was Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. This was the best of their three matches by far.
Yes, I
This
didn't
match was
expect it. It was great.
fantastic.
It was very well done, and you knew it was going to be a long show. They were padding for time because they replayed the very very lengthy video package, the exact same one that they played on Monday Night Raw, and then again on SmackDown if they had to play it again. But once you got through that, it was a hell of a good match.
And these two are so good together. And Cody pins Brock clean in the middle of the ring after getting the hell beat out of him for about 10
Yeah,
minutes.
Brock dominated that match. A lot. I don't know how many suplexes he gave him, but it was a lot.
It was Suplex City, bitch.
At least a dozen suplexes.
I mean, if Brock would have won, we would have been saying, holy shit, they just killed Cody.
Right. I
They,
didn't. I kind of expected Cody to win because I knew that Brock Lesnar's not a full timer and that Cody is going to be around for a while.
I mean,
Pardon
supposedly
me.
Brock is going to be working not the next pay-per-view, but the one after that.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I was very, very pleased with this match.
this was very good. And it was 17 or so minutes, but it felt like it was 10. I mean, it was, even though it did slow down at a point, but it needed to. And Brock tore his pants. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, a little wardrobe malfunction.
Uh it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um Anyway,
But I was in the aftermath of the match. Uh, Brock Lesnar showed a really surprising, good sportsmanship.
I think they're going to kind of explain that by saying a respective battle type situation.
Oh, sure, yeah. But
I don't
but I don't know about you, but I kept thinking he's gonna turn on him any second he's gonna turn, he's gonna beat him up. Nope, didn't happen.
I didn't think so. It wouldn't have made
And
sense. The feud's
yeah,
over.
that's right. And this felt like the way they reacted to it afterward. It gave some closure that this was like a rubber match, and this is the end of it.
Now, if Cody wins the title, you better bet Brock's coming after him.
Sure, I'm sure he will.
Then we get the Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal.
Yeah, Slim Jim.
I'll be
What do we have?
honest.
About 25 wrestlers.
Yeah, it was 25.
I got to tell you, I had completely forgotten that Omos existed.
Thank you.
And then all of a sudden, boom, there he is again. I thought, oh, this guy.
Well, long story short, and I zoned out for about half the match because battle royals do not matter
Right.
traditionally, unless it's the Royal Rumble.
This was won by the wrestler that I expected to win it, and one that I felt like needed to win this because he is on. He's on a roll. That's
LA Knight.
LA Knight.
LA Knight won. He eliminated Sheamus. Him and Sheamus had a very good last couple minutes there.
Yes,
when
he
it was
did.
just those two. So we'll see what happens with that. And then we get the worst fucking thing to happen on this show. Oh my God.
Are you talking about Shayna versus Ronda?
Holy shit, this sucked.
No, I didn't think it was that bad.
Worked MMA is bad.
I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it because Shayna Baszler won.
Dude, there was a kick very early in this match, and people have probably seen the clip on Twitter where Shayna kicks Ronda, and Ronda just sells this like she's dead.
Yeah.
And you could hear this kick too. It sounded like a freaking gunshot going off. You know the one I'm talking about where she kicked her in the head?
Yeah.
And like Ronda went to check the kick. Ronda thought she was going to go low, so she went to check the kick with her leg and just got with a foot upside the head and just went down.
Have you heard it in the news? Is Ronda Rousey going to be leaving
Ronda's
WWE?
done. She's gone. That was it.
Done with WWE or done with wrestling?
My presumption is wrestling, but you could tell me she's going to turn up in AEW in a year, and I'd probably believe you.
Yeah. It's just that I think it's interesting. The fans never really took to her.
It's because she kept insulting them.
Well, yeah, no shit.
Then we had my other maybe favorite match on the show, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. This is exactly what you wanted it to be. Two meaty men smacking each other around.
This was brutal, and I loved it.
And I was thinking at a certain point, oh my God, they're going to fuck this up and Drew's going to win.
Yeah, but I didn't think it's time for Gunther to drop the title yet.
It's not. It wasn't. But I was thinking, oh my God, it's WWE. They're going to fuck this.
Yeah. I thought it was a great match, though. These two guys could really work, and I've never seen Gunther have a bad match.
I don't think he knows how.
Yeah.
Well, Gunther is still the Intercontinental Champion.
He just looks like such a badass,
He is closing in on the Honky Tonk Man's record.
Yeah.
I believe he will not have broken it just yet by the time we get to Payback, but it will be very close. I'll be interested to see if they do anything with him at Payback in terms of that title. I would have to think they will because of the record.
Sure. Makes sense to use it.
Then we had Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. I thought this was better than their match last month. The crowd certainly was into this.
Yeah.
I think the wrong guy won. I'm gonna be honest. I think they probably should have had Finn win here. Now, granted, Seth didn't win clean.
Right.
And anybody who's trying to tell you, oh, Seth won the match clean in the middle of the ring, no, he didn't. He curb stomped him on the briefcase.
That's right.
He didn't win clean. Anyway, Seth's still
That's
the
what
world
you
heavyweight
call
champion.
the use of a foreign object.
Seth's still the world heavyweight champion. Damien's a dumb shit for not cashing in. We move on.
Yeah. I wonder where they're going to take that now. With him and Finn, they're going to probably have some kind of falling out coming up here.
They'll probably have a match for the briefcase.
Yeah, that's one they always resort to.
I don't like it, but they'll probably do it. And then we had I don't even know how to describe this match.
Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair versus Asuka.
It was
Here's,
the
go ahead.
first 10 or 15 minutes of this match was very good.
Yeah.
The rest of it was sloppy.
Yeah, it seemed to turn into kind of a bullshit match.
And I really like Asuka, by the way, but she
Yeah.
was botching all over the place here.
Uh-huh.
All three of them were. I don't know what happened here. I'll be honest. I don't know if they found out about what was going to happen after the match, like really late or what. I don't know.
Like I said, it just was kind of sloppy. It didn't look that good. And I didn't want Bianca Belair to win it, but she did. I wasn't really happy about that. But
Well,
then,
Bianca wins with a roll up, and I'm thinking, oh my God, here we go again.
Yep.
And then here comes freaking Io and Bailey, and Bailey takes the briefcase and just starts hitting people with it.
Right.
And I'm thinking, holy shit.
She's great.
I was thinking there's no way Io was actually going to cash in here. I thought Bianca was going to catch him with the belt or something.
Yeah, but I'm glad it went the way it did.
And Bianca takes out Bailey, and Io grabs the briefcase, smacks Bianca in the back of the head.
Yeah, it was great.
Starts yelling at the referee.
Too, I felt like I didn't like Bianca winning, but I felt like Io cashing in that kind of redeemed the match, for me.
And Asuka didn't lose clean. Asuka got rolled up on kind of a bullshit finish. Mm-hmm. So, and one thing we skipped in the news, but I've been reminded now. Kairi Sane is headed back to the US and she is re-signed with WWE. So look out, here come the Kabuki Warriors again.
Oh yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
I think they were the best tag team.
NXT, they started in NXT?
They were a main roster.
Okay, main roster, all right. Yeah, it's been a while.
Now,
but I like Io Sky.
Not to pad for fucking time, but that's what they did here.
They padded a whole bunch of time in here.
Russ.
Why?
I believe it was like 45 minutes between the end of the Io Sky match, the end of Io Sky winning the briefcase or winning the title, and Roman Reigns finishing his entrance.
I felt like it was something like that because it just seemed like it was just going on and on. And
by the way, this show was 4 hours.
Yeah, and I've been watching like 3.5 hours, and I'm getting tired, starting to get drowsy, and I'm thinking, come on, Roman, walk a little faster, please.
But one thing I want to talk about, Jay makes his entrance, and he gets up on the ring, and he's doing this thing, and there's this shot of the whole crowd giving it back to him. That's going to be in his Hall of Fame video.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
With the
yeah.
This thing. Yeah.
And before you say, oh, Jey Uso's not a Hall of Famer, yes, he is.
Sure he is. Eventually.
If Coco Beware can be in there, fuck.
Well, hell, if Johnny Rods could be in the Hall of Fame, surely they got a place for the Usos.
And Roman.
Yes.
Most it's funny
Tribal
when
chief.
you look up and down this card, you can make an argument for just about every wrestler on this card going into the Hall of Fame at some point. And that's funny, but look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about WWE's criteria for the Hall of Fame, name one wrestler on this card that won't go in. Ronda? Maybe. Shayna? Probably. There's
Yeah.
one match where you could say, okay, neither of them are probably going to go in, but Drew is for sure going into the Hall of Fame at this point.
Yeah.
Gunther, especially.
Seth Rollins, Finn Balor,
Seth will, Finn, maybe.
probably. Charlotte Flair, probably eventually.
If it means that they can get more money out of that Flair name, they'll do whatever they want.
Exactly. Exactly.
Paul Heyman, definitely.
Paul Heyman.
Cody, Brock. Do you think Brock goes in?
I think he'd be a perfect fit for it. But what do I know?
His speech would be funny. His speech would be...
they might need to keep the Hall of Fame open for other worthy celebrities that they've had in the past, like Drew Carey and Donald Trump.
Yeah, how'd that work out for him?
And then it's not so great. Not so great. But this match, once they finally got it going, after those long entrances and that long pause, then it was a pretty good match.
It
overall.
Was bell to bell. This match was 36 minutes. At the end of a 3.5-hour show,
Right.
Jesus Christ. This show went on and on and on. And I thought this thing was never, and this match specifically.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Holy shit. And Roman just, nobody thought Jey Uso was going to win this match. And that was part of the problem. And there wasn't a lot of crowd heat here beyond the entrances.
Right.
And Roman beats him up some more.
No, he beats him up and then he walks around really slow. And then he does something else. And then he walks around really slow. And his opponent is laying there, prone on the mat. Of course, no attempt made to pin him. Absolutely none. That would make sense. That would be rational.
No, instead Roman's yelling at him.
Yeah.
So anyway, about 20 minutes into this thing, Solo Sikoa finally decides he wants to do a run-in.
I expected him to show up. It didn't work out so good.
Well, anyway, him and Roman start beating up Jey. They finally drag him back to the ring. They were trying to drag him like on the ground. That didn't work. So Solo finally just picked him up, threw him over his shoulder and said, "Let's go, little brother."
Yeah.
Or big brother. And tossed him in, and then they start beating him up some more. Roman goes for a spear on Jey. Well, Solo has him ready for the spike. Jey gets out of the way. Roman hits the spear on Solo by accident. And then they go to the outside. Roman has Jey leaned up against the barricade, and then Solo just starts cussing at Roman at the top of his lungs.
Cussing him out.
For spearing him.
Yeah.
And then as all this is happening, Jey spears Roman through the barricade. And it was in this moment that you thought maybe Jey had a chance because he takes Solo out with the table spot. Jey gets Roman back in the ring, hits him with an Uso splash. 1, 2, and then another masked man shows up and pulls Jey out of the ring. And who is it?
Man.
It's that son of a bitch, Jimmy Uso again.
Jimmy. What are we going to do with you, pal?
Now, I don't think he's back in the bloodline because he didn't look at Paul. He didn't look at Roman. He didn't even look at Solo. I don't think he's back in the bloodline. But He's for sure not on Jay's side anymore.
Oh yeah.
He kicks Jay in the head so hard.
Yeah. I mean,
Also,
this brother on brother crime is getting pretty damn brutal.
these two, if you don't think the Usos splitting up is a big deal, let me put this into perspective for you. They had their first tag match on the main roster in 2010.
2010. Wow, it's been a while.
And they were a tag in FCW as well. They have
Right.
been the tag team in WWE for the better part of 10
They've
years
been
now.
through a lot, you know.
Um,
They've
this
been
is a
through,
first ballot Hall of Fame team.
I think so. Of course, we don't get a vote, do we?
Well, maybe we should, damn it.
I think we should. I think we should be able to pick the Hall of Fame. I got the next year's class all lined up. We're going to have Brooklyn Brawler, Iron Mike Sharp,
I think
Reno
Brooklyn
Riggins,
Brawler's
Reno
already in.
Riggins.
I think Brooklyn Brawler's already on.
Oh yeah, that would make sense, you know, because he worked for that company for 30 some years, you know.
Being a jabroni. Anyway.
I saw him wrestle a few times as tag teaming with Barry Horowitz at a superstar taping years ago. And during the commercial break, this young gal sitting a couple rows in front of me says, "Oh, Barry! Oh, Barry, Barry!" And of course, he's heel. He turns
He's
around
the
and
heel.
he says, "Shut your face."
Anyway,
Yeah.
to
Anyway.
further make these problems worse, Jimmy kicks him in the head, and Roman takes about 10 years to get up after that.
Mm-hmm.
Jay is knocked out. Jay is dead. Jay is just done.
Right.
I mean, he stands up and gets speared again, but he is. Jay Uso should never have a 36-minute match again. That was my takeaway from this. Jay gets speared. He gets pinned. Roman looks confused as shit. So does Paul. And then Paul starts saying, "I acknowledge you, my tribal chief." Worth noting, Roman Reigns did not attend the post-show press conference. Paul Heyman went in his stead.
All right. Did he have anything worthwhile to say?
Well, he made fun of Byron Saxton.
Oh dear, poor Byron.
Oh yeah, Russ is just gonna cry for his old friend Byron. I really liked this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
For 3 hours and 45 minutes, I really liked this show.
Yeah, it just went a little too long.
Hell, if they'd have cut 15 minutes off that Roman and Jay match and made it like 20 minutes.
You know, they could have eliminated the Battle Royal. Wouldn't have bothered me.
The Battle Royal, surprisingly enough, was only 12 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't take up too much time.
It's not like it was one of those Battle Royals that just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It didn't. Nothing on this show, other than the main event, felt like it took too long.
Yeah, the pacing was very good up until the end.
Now, if you were going to keep this show the same length, but have more matches, like maybe in the 15 minutes that they could have cut from Roman and Jay, we could have had a Rhea Ripley match.
Yeah.
You could have done Becky and Trish here instead of on Raw in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have done both of those things. Probably you could have had Rhea do a squash and then Becky and Trish.
One of the things they had that took up a few minutes, she wasn't on the show, but they did a video package about Liv Morgan.
I thought they were doing a documentary on her again. I was like, didn't we just get a Liv
documentary? It seemed like just a time filler, you know?
Well, they did the same thing for Becky.
Yes, they did. But, speaking of documentaries, I did get a chance to watch Cody Rhodes
Yeah, tell me
documentary
what you thought.
on Peacock. I liked it pretty well. I thought 2 hours was a little too long. It could have been paced a little quicker, but
Man, they spent a lot of time on Stardust.
yeah, they sure did.
You didn't
Everybody had to
believe me
say
when
how
I
much
told
they
you.
hated Stardust.
You didn't believe me when I told you they spent like 10 to 12 minutes on freaking Stardust.
Yeah, I felt like even more than that, you know.
Uh, it went on and on and
Yeah.
on and on and on and on.
Anyway,
Well, Russ, I do want to talk about a couple things from the shows during the week.
yeah.
That MJF Adam Cole promo on Dynamite is one thing that stood out to me as particularly fantastic this week.
Yes, it was very well done. They're always great.
And they're keeping them together going into All In. We now know the main event of All In will be Adam Cole versus MJF for the world title.
Yeah. I
Now
think
we've got. Okay, I didn't see all of Collision, but I did see a clip. CM Punk still has that straight edge, real
he's
world.
got the old title. They did the same thing in WCW for years where they had two different versions of the title. They were, yeah, the real world champion versus the world champion. That's what.
Now,
Straight edge. Yeah, that straight edge thing with the X and all that, you know.
correct me if I'm wrong, Russ, but in any legitimate competition, if you are suspended for the reason CM Punk was suspended, and you're in a like the UFC and you're suspended for that reason, they're stripping you of the fucking title, right?
Yeah, they would, but they didn't do that here.
Well, they did. He was stripped of the title. It was vacated.
So, so this is just like he's been just kind of healing on him by claiming this is the real world championship. But I find it interesting. The crowd is so split on him. Half the crowd loves him, and half the crowd hates him. He seems to be embracing that, though, and working with it.
Where are you on that? Love or hate?
They're all kind of in the middle,
Me too.
like always. Him, you know. I think he goes too far sometimes, but that's just my opinion.
He
I
does go
think
too far.
I know it's part of his heel persona. This I'm straight edge, and that means I'm better than you. I said, no, you're straight edge, and that don't mean shit.
That's your straight edge, and that means you're fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Well, I think he'd be miserable even if he wasn't, to be fair.
Some people thrive on being unhappy.
Well, overall, I thought it was a pretty fun week for wrestling, but again, SummerSlam too long.
Right.
Monday Night Raw is still 3 hours. Fuck that.
Yeah. Nothing we can do about it except not watch it live. But either watch it on either fast forward through the commercials when you rewatch it, or watch it on Hulu and you get it edited down somewhat.
You get the point on Hulu.
Right. You get the high points, and they skip some of the extraneous bullshit on there, I notice.
Extraneous bullshit? You mean commercials and shit you don't care about?
Right. You know, they might be missing a couple of the backstage vignettes, you know, on Hulu, but you're really not missing anything crucial.
No, you're really not. Nothing you can't find on YouTube anyway.
Right.
Well, that's going to about do it for us this week. We had a much shorter show this week, but to be frank, we planned on talking about SummerSlam and the news, and that was about it, just because talking about 4 shows, SummerSlam and the news, would take us.
That's a little bit too much. A little bit too much even for us.
We're going to do 2 shows a week at some point once Russ gets his tech stuff fixed, but
correct.
And when that happens, then we can do that, where we can talk about all 4 shows plus the pay-per-view plus whatever.
Sure.
Because we're doing an expansion draft, brother.
Okay, brother.
We got to do the brand split, brother.
That's right, brother.
Dude. That don't work for me, dude. Or maybe it does, Jack.
That's right. Well, I don't know. I'll do whatever you want me to because I don't have creative control of my contract.
What contract?
I know. I'm kidding you.
Uh,
By the way, off the subject, but just a real mention, have you been watching any of the new season of Dark Side of the Ring?
I I don't get Vice, so
Okay.
I basically can't.
Okay.
I've seen clips and I've heard it's very good.
Very good. They did Bam Bam Bigelow was good, and they did one on the Bash of the Beach 2000 where Jeff Jarrett laid down, for Hogan. That was an interesting show.
I want to see that, but
That's
again,
too bad you can't get Vice. I like Vice News. They're my favorite news source.
well, Vice is going out of business,
Yeah, I know.
so we'll see what happens with that. They'll get bought by
Right.
somebody. They'll
So
get
then,
bought by somebody
if
in
if
bankruptcy.
Vice News isn't around anymore, then where do radical commie libs like me go to get their news then?
Did you shout yourself as a radical commie lib on the internet?
Yeah, why not? Bring it on! Bring it on, fuckers!
Well, on that radical commie lib note,
All right, man. It's been good.
ooh, we are going to get so much shit on Twitter for the end of this show. Oh my God.
All right.
Do we care is the question.
Not too much. No, not too much.
Not overly, no. After this, I'm going to go do a stream over on Twitch. If this goes up tonight, you might be watching this as it goes live. I stream 4 days a week over there. Come check me out 4 to 7 Central
Yes,
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and
absolutely.
Friday. Again, if you like my goofier, dumber side, then that's where you want to go because that's all it is. I mean, there's about 7 serious seconds in that entire 3-hour period, 4 days a week.
That's just enough.
Not like me and Russ are very serious, but we're more serious than I am over there because I don't take myself seriously at all over there.
Good.
But this is the internet. Should you really take yourself seriously at all? Anyway,
Yes.
we will see y'all next week. If you want to come check out the Twitch streams, twitch.tv/bettinggames99. Come check me out over there. That's about it. We'll see y'all right back here next week. Have a good one. Damon, play our fucking music. Bye-bye.